I am theoretically recording as well, so
Well, I'm
theoretically,
recording twice. I'm
it's a
recording twice because I'm doing it on this, and then I'm also doing it on that Skype recorder.
yeah. I got running both recorders as well, so
So we've got like four.
which was good because when my backup failed not that long ago, it's something. We had something.
Yeah.
I really don't know why it didn't work that time. Like, come on, you're better than that, Skype. Come on, call rep.
Just once, that's all it takes.
Just once,
We can blame Scott though, right?
probably.
Okay.
Scott's usually worth a good blame. Like, come on, Scott, you're better than that, Scott.
Oh, you weren't on that show, Scott?
Wow. Are any of us surprised? No. Like your real life keeps getting in the way. That's the
Uh,
story.
yeah. Well, what is he watching Walking Dead right now?
I honestly suspect that's what it is. I mean, do we really think it's not Walking Dead?
Well, I don't, because I think it's on, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't it not?
Doesn't get over till 9.
Yeah, for another half an hour.
Yeah.
So
Like, what
doesn't
do
he
you
own a
care about, Scott?
DVR like everybody else?
Do you care about your friends yet, or do you care about helping out?
Maybe his friends are the people on The Walking Dead.
It's possible.
They're real.
They're real to me.
I can't tell you any of the characters' name because I've never seen the show.
I've never seen the
But
show either.
but
I remember
zombie
being
number five is
I had
real.
a 50 something year old professor who was an ex principal, and he loved The Walking Dead. And so, like, he came in one day, like, did you see the black girl with the guitar now? That was so great. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying the show is bad by any means, but to me, I'm not into zombies. And two, it's a soap opera. I'm
Like,
not into them
even
also.
my understanding is a good zombie tale. What holds together is the zombies, not really the zombies so much as the human interaction, and then you have the bullshit. Zombies are really a commentary on on modern society. Like, okay, I guess that's a thing. I mean, everything is a commentary on modern society if you want it to be.
Well, yeah. Especially if you're commentating on modern society.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't, I don't pretend to tell people what to watch. I don't have any shows though that I have to watch. I don't know
I
if I've
don't.
ever, I take that back. I did DVR a show. I DVR'd, Scrooge for my son
Oh, really?
so he could watch it, the one with, Patrick Stewart.
Oh, I thought you were talking the one with Scrooge McDuck.
No, that wasn't on. He wanted to see it, so I DVR'd it so he could watch it. So I have used our DVR once.
I can't say I've ever used my. I mean, I still have a VCR. Probably not great to admit these things, but it does exist.
I still have a VCR. I don't know if I haven't used it in a long time. I don't even know if it
Yeah.
works. So I'm not sure if it works. But when they switched us over to Hawaiian Tel not that long ago, and it's
Yeah.
part of a part of my rent. It comes with, the Hawaiian Tel internet. Our building comes with the internet and the TV.
Mm-hmm.
And you get DVR with it. It's part of their package. So my wife loves it.
Funny so
She's
much.
actually she'll be actually in the bedroom like reading, on her Kindle
Mm-hmm.
while she's DVRing a show. And I'm like, well, why don't you just watch the
Watch it.
show? Well, I want to watch them all together.
I understand that.
So I whatever.
Well, the importance of watching a TV show is a lot different now than when we were young. I mean, when we were young, if it was live, that's when you wanted to watch it. Now, Ian, if you're lucky, you get to tape it and you can watch it again later. What kind of shows did you tape when you were a kid?
None.
None. You never taped
No.
anything.
No, because we didn't have a VCR until I was like in high school.
Okay, so what did you tape when you were in high school?
Nothing.
You never taped anything in high school. Did you ever
No.
tape? So have you ever recorded any show to watch later
Scrooge for my son.
for yourself?
No, because to be honest, I mean, that's the thing is, when I got into high school, when I was 15, that's when we moved to Iowa,
Yeah.
and that's when I had cable.
So you never
Well,
watched.
before that, I had three channels. One of them was the religious channel, and you had to
Okay.
turn the antenna to get
To get the
each
religious
channel.
channel.
Well, yeah, to get the three channels, you had to turn the antenna for each one. So it was like more of a hassle to watch TV.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
And guess what? If my dad said, "Hey, I want to watch this," guess what? That's what you watched.
Reminds me of an old Jeff Foxworthy skit where he's talking about you know, and if the president was on, you wouldn't get to watch anything. Oh my God, the president's on. He's on every channel. We don't get to watch Flipper.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, I'm not, it's not like I'm saying I'm that old where the cable was in existence
Mm-hmm.
then. We
Yeah.
just didn't have that option.
Well, yeah. I don't. I think if you're out in the country, that's what happens, right?
I lived that far in the boondocks. So, but, it's like it is what it is. That's why, I mean, I put no value on TV because I didn't grow up with it,
Yeah.
as much as other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did watch the religious channel on Saturdays because then you could watch the old Dennis the Menace,
Oh,
Mr. Ed. The funny thing is because it was the
the Andy
religious
Griffith
channel.
Show.
Yeah, a lot of those old, black and white shows. But the funny thing is that in the middle of it, like the, whoever owned the religious station, the preacher would come on in the middle and go, "If only Dennis would have done this, he would have been, life would have been so much better. This is what God is telling us." So there was always a religious message in the middle of it.
It's kind of interesting.
But it still was Dennis the Menace, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, people probably don't even know what Dennis the Menace is.
Dennis the
That's a
Menace.
really old it's a really old show. Mr. Ed, all black and white. There was no color
I
shows on that.
remember that. I remember watching what's his face, Mr. Ed on Nick at Night back
Nick
when
at
they
Night.
showed like really old shows.
Yeah, see, we didn't have that either, so.
Oh, we got a satellite dish when I was, I don't know, I think middle school.
Yeah,
So yeah, which basically, yeah, our default station was ESPN naturally, right?
gotcha. Yes. And it was probably like channel 10-101,
Something like that.
those satellites had the weirdest channels.
And everything, well, everything was satellite codes because it was
Yes.
so it was like G9.
Yes. And you had to switch it to satellite to satellite.
Yep, and then F3, F1.
Yeah. That's what people don't understand is like you got one satellite to get ESPN
Yeah,
channels.
and
You had to
so
you had to
every
move the
satellite,
satellite to another satellite point
yeah,
to get
every satellite had to
uh,
be run. I mean, and really, I mean, your cable networks do the same thing. You just your cable provider has multiple dishes to recall whatever they need.
no, no, yeah, I mean I get it, but I'm just saying but
Yeah,
before you were the cable provider that way, you know what
yeah.
I mean, where you had to do that. But now, yeah. So, and that's the thing is, like I said, we had the old antenna that was up. We were just in a single story with a basement house out on a farm. And so the antenna stood about 3 stories high though. And we had it was on a rotor though. So you had a dial and you turned the dial to a compass direction. And then that turned the antenna to that compass direction. So we had it marked on there, which, where we needed to turn it to get what channel. I mean, there's only
Yeah,
3 marks.
yeah, and well, the other thing, like I always got stuck, like when everything got out of calibration, I had to recalibrate everything. Like, oh
Oh,
well,
yes.
so why am I getting stuck doing this? Because you're the one who knows how to do it. I'm like, why did I have to get trained in this? Like, well, you're the oldest. Like, okay,
Yeah,
you're young and you understand technology.
yeah,
Like we had like the
because you can do
control
it.
like the controls where like the actual hand controls, like once in a while, I don't know why this was a problem, but nonetheless it was a problem. Like once in a while it would stop working because like the oils from your hands would eventually get into it bad enough that the remote would stop working. So you'd have to take it apart and clean out the circuit boards underneath.
Right.
And then, I always got dragooned to do that. And they're like, one time I cleaned it apparently too good that I like took all the knobs, like all the nodes and everything off of it. It's like, how come it's not working? I don't know. I cleaned it. So you want it, wasn't it?
Yeah, you said clean it, right? I cleaned
Yeah.
it.
It's clean. Isn't it? Isn't
Shut up
what you
and be
want?
happy. Yeah, no, and I do remember. God, like I said, we must. I don't remember how old it was. We were when we did get the VCR, but I was probably 15 or 16, and we really got it so that we could, because then we were close to a movie store, so we could actually rent movies and
Mm-hmm.
watch them.
So that's something I
That's
never did. I never rented any movies.
that was really what the VCR was for, especially for my mom. You know.
What do you
Uh,
remember renting? Like, what was?
oh, I remember we rented like what was that movie? Well, Ghostbusters. I remember that
Okay.
and things like that. And and it was like a year after it came out in the movies, and it was done in the movies. That's when you could rent them,
It's
and they
like,
were new
oh
releases.
yeah,
And we already saw it. Yeah,
yeah,
or like that Ghostbusters we had seen in the movies, but yeah, a lot of movies we hadn't seen. So it was like because we didn't go to the movies very often either.
yeah.
That was kind of a it wasn't like it was close.
Oh no, I
Um,
understand.
yeah, but so it was like a year after it was already out, and half the people in the world had seen it. I'm getting it now on a VCR. So, but I do remember my friend having a VCR, and they had the really old one where they actually had the remote actually was a cord that ran to the VCR,
Ooh, that's classy.
and that it was the one that the thing popped up the top
Yeah, like
for the VCR
the
tape.
top would come up and down. Isn't it amazing, like how quickly that
Yeah,
technology went away? Like that
yeah,
they put the tray inside and then they completely just revamped it. And like clearly that was not a model they were really excited to keep.
yeah. No, well, I mean, it just looks cleaner, to where you just put the tape in and it grabs it.
Oh
The
yeah,
tray's there, like you saying, it takes it in. You know what I mean? It just looks cleaner.
no, I disagree.
Plus, I think they thought too, if um, if a if the machine was taking it in and out, it's probably going to get less abused than people pushing it down and slamming it and things like that.
Well, yeah, well, it's just like the whole like cell
Because
phone
no
thing.
kid ever put that thing down gentle.
No, yes, mm-hmm.
It was always, it was like whack.
It's a phone theory that
So
Seinfeld goes on to. Like, there's not very much satisfaction in just having a phone and just pushing the button and turning it off. Yeah, there's a lot more satisfaction in actually slamming a phone down.
yeah. Did Twitch just go down,
I don't think
or is
so.
it me?
No, I think everything's running. According to my everything OBS tells me. OBS tells me everything is going according to plan. We're at a
It must be
solid.
my side. You got a little bit of row body as soon as I asked that. Now you're clear, but I mean there,
Oh,
and I
excellent.
mean I've
No,
got internet's fine. I don't know. I live in Hawaii.
you're like I don't know. I don't.
I didn't pound the
Answers.
coconuts enough to get the internet clear.
You see, you need to make
Yes.
sure to tie really good knots in the string. Otherwise, things don't work out very good. That's what I'm told, anyways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm not wrong in this.
We We had bamboo scaffolding when we put up the poles. Come on.
Yeah. Is actual bamboo in Hawaii? I guess I never heard of bamboo in Hawaii, so
We
I
have
just
bamboo in Hawaii. It's not
oh,
native.
well, I know it's not native. I just didn't realize there were any bamboo in Hawaii, let alone small amounts of it.
Yeah.
I didn't
It
really
is
know it
a
was.
very
I know it kind of grows like a
yeah.
weed.
No, it's
Like
a
if
very
it,
noxious weed. It's a very invasive.
like if it
So,
grows in a place, it's very weed like.
yes. And it will take over. It's a lot of people have it in their yards and stuff, but we have small, like some of our like I don't want to say forests, but we some of our little places that have some forest has some in it where things have gone.
Out in the wild. Well, you got a lot of
Yeah,
problems with like invasive grasses, don't you?
I mean if you think about it, everything here's
Everything
invasive.
is yeah. I mean, after fashion, everything is invasive.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, yeah, I totally don't. I'm not arguing about that. I just remember seeing, you see these news reports like, oh, we're being taken over by all this junk. Like, okay, sure, um, completely possible.
Yeah. Uh, Actually, we're having trouble. I mean, the grasses aren't terrible as far as like a big problem. What we're having troubles with it mostly is
Hmm.
insects. The quarantine systems hasn't been as clean as it should be.
But we're spending way too much time worrying about genetically modified plants and things that might actually help with this.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
let's not work. Let's not
well,
spend any time concerning ourselves. Let's completely ban those. Other than the things we can't ban, like
we're having troubles with yeah, with bees too because like we got some stuff that are killing the bees, not pesticides either.
wasn't there a fungus? Then they finally figured because there's been a problem with bees die off, especially in domesticated hives, and then they finally narrow that down to there was some fungus that was going through the bee population that was responsible for it. At least that's what I
Yeah.
heard.
There's a there's a lot of issues, and a lot of it is not 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 the genetically modified stuff, but we are growing things uh in a time when the bees are the most active, that's when things aren't pollinating sometimes.
Okay.
And it's because we as humans are setting things to do what we want
Hmm.
instead of how nature has it set up. And so it's not that the bees can't pollinate, it's just they're not they're getting adjusted to some things about being active. There's plenty of pollen out there, and there's plenty of places for bees to be, believe me.
Hmm.
We've screwed with the system a little bit.
Well, but I mean, but what's the alternative to that? I mean, are we really just kind of give up on it? Like, I mean, it sounds more like trying to get the bees on be better. Realistically, the reason why we're rescheduling this pollinating times is probably because it's generally more efficient to pollinate at different times, like at night, rather than when bees are active during the day. Or is that
Well,
not the problem at all?
no, to be honest, a lot of the problem, honestly, is that we have adjusted things like we are growing like before when you had the growing season.
Mm-hmm.
It was between, just this is just, numbers because it changes wherever you live.
Mm-hmm.
Latitude, all that stuff. But say it's like between May 1st and October, October 30th. October 30th.
Yeah.
Well, with the seeds and the technology, and then so like that means June and end of June, beginning of July is when pollination is. Well, we've learned and we've adjusted our seeds to live through cold and things like that. So now we can plant it in April, April 1st. And then we can actually harvest it a little bit later so we can get more. That's how we're getting a lot of yield is like by adjusting our seeds to be able to grow in tougher climates. because they have a longer growing season. They can get fuller cobs and bigger cobs, like
Yeah,
with corn.
makes sense. And you're
And
also
but that,
probably
but
getting,
guess
and
what?
you probably have
We
access because you're varying the, you're
we
growing in soil that hasn't been tilled near as much as well, so your nutrient value in that soil is probably a lot better as well.
right, but now we've adjusted the pollination and it's not from end of June into July. It's at the beginning of June, ending in June. Sometimes, you know what I mean? In certain cases, I'm just so we've shifted where it pollinates.
So it sounds more like
So,
modern agriculture
and the
and
bees are
bees
getting
just are
adjusted, but
not.
it did
Yeah.
hurt the population.
Well, it's like bats too. I mean, there's a problem with
Well, it's just
there's
because we
a.
moved it.
Oh yeah.
They're adjusting.
Well, yeah. Well, and that's if you want to say that's basically adaptive traits that belong to animals and plants. I mean, that things that can adapt to change. I mean, let's be honest. Humans are a force of nature at this point in the
Yes.
world. Like we change our environment for the better or for worse, regardless of whether you think that's good or ill. Nonetheless, we are a force of nature in the world.
Yes.
And
Probably the biggest force of
yeah,
nature.
there was something the other day about how, you know, if you look at how much dirt is moved by backholes in the world versus like volcanoes in an annual year, we move a lot more dirt with backholes and with bulldozers than we do with the average year in volcanic eruptions. Obviously, there's only maybe a major volcanic eruption happens about every 5 years or so, and then there's a lot of minor eruptions like what you guys have in Hawaii. But yeah, but in the past, the volcanic eruptions would be a significant contributor to total dirt movement in the world. That's not the case anymore.
Right.
So
Right. No, yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and it's like I said, and it's like I said, it's neither for the like you say, it's for the bad or the good. It's what's happened, but with the
yeah, I mean,
fungus,
it's
with
not
these
going to
other things,
stop.
and
I mean,
they are having to adjust.
well, that's
We've
I
got a
think
lot
it's
more insects now
I think that's the other thing
that
that's
are eating
ignorant of
things.
the environmental movement. It's like, well, we're just going to put this Pandora's box away and we're just not going to do it. Like, no, that's not how it's going to work. I mean, people are always going to do these things. Like, we have the power to do these things. People are going to continue to do these things. I mean, you can ban them, but when has technology ever not been used when it's been available?
Right.
I mean, you maybe make an argument. Well, obviously genetic crops aren't being used very much in Africa. Well, that's because stupid Europeans are encouraging starving Africans not to eat food that would save their lives.
Right.
That's a different animal,
Right.
and they don't really actually have that technology. Someone's giving them those modified crops.
Right. And that's the other thing too is we're talking also a lot of the stuff that would be given to them is coming from a university and it's not going to come from the private sector.
Yeah.
The private sector's not going to lose money, so they're not going to give away their good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Or
And I'm
it's
not
stuff,
saying they're not,
or it's
they're
crops
giving
where
money,
patents have the in crops where patents have already expired.
right? But you understand what I'm saying? I mean, they're
Mm-hmm.
they're giving plenty of money to university. I mean, come on, Pioneer, DuPont gives well, boatloads of money to Iowa State.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, and they also benefit from that too economically.
No, no, they do. But I'm just saying, it's not like they're not, giving. They're not. It's like we're hoard the money. They are
Mm-hmm.
giving some money, but they're not going to give their great proprietary stuff that makes them the money away.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're giving away the older technology and things like that. It's still beneficial if it's
Oh,
used.
still help saves lives. I mean,
Yeah. So still gives them food to eat.
pretty much.
But yeah,
Got high tower in the
we're
chat room.
yeah, I
High
see
tower.
that. I actually was playing a little bit of WoW with him earlier, and then the other night he stayed up till like 5 in the morning his time playing WoW with me and drinking.
Hmm. That's always a noble endeavor.
I don't know. His wife didn't kill him, so he's got that going for him.
Yeah.
I think she had to get up and go to work, so she probably didn't care.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think my wife would. Well, I know she wouldn't like it too much if I did that very often.
Well, you also have You're living in tighter quarters than a lot of houses.
True.
And the height of the weekend is my daughter and me going downstairs and watching Curious George together.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I like it.
Is that by your choice?
It's better than Elmo, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would agree.
Purchase like, yeah. That's like that is. This is these are true statements, true words. True words are spoken.
I have been there. Yes, I have been there. You know. Luckily my son is out of that. In fact, today he's been watching a whole bunch of Digimon.
Yeah.
So, and he has now come into the world of YouTube.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm ready for my daughter to know about the world of YouTube. Only thing she knows that's on YouTube is like some of my card playing stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have it, I have the blocks and stuff turned on, you know what I mean? So he
Mm-hmm.
can't access, a lot of stuff. But he has been accessing like Shopkins. Do you know what those are?
I don't know what that is.
I It's tiny little figures and they come in like a shopping cart or something.
Okay.
I guess it's like the kids' latest rage thing. This is what all
Okay.
the kids are into now. But there's these videos out there of these people that are unboxing Shopkins and then like playing with them, you know what I mean, and talking to each other. And I'm talking adults,
Yes.
not
Of
kids doing
course.
this. And he finds them entertaining. So that's where we're at now with YouTube. And he's watching other things like Lego building and Minecraft, you know. He
All these
likes watching
hobbies.
those kind of things. So, but yeah, he got himself. I introduced him to YouTube a while ago so he could watch some music videos from back in the 80s.
Okay. You want him to know what it was like being a young pork chop?
Yes. So we watched Thriller and Beat It and Aha's Take on Me. So, the greats. So, but no, so he likes to watch the music videos, and then I told him, I said, listen, he goes, I said, you like Legos, watch, and I typed in Lego building, and I think I put like Spider-Man, Spider-Man Lego building sets, and I pulled up one, and I think he's just been clicking from there because his reading is not that great, so it's not like he knows what he's reading. He's looking at the pictures. He's a kindergartner, you know.
I'm having my daughter's almost to the point of being able to write her name. That's doing pretty good.
No, that's really good. That's probably better than me.
Well, yeah, the thing about being an adult is all you really do need to do is scribble a couple letters and make some lines, and you can call it your signature.
So you've seen my signature.
Yeah, I've seen my signature. I know what it looks like.
Yeah. That's the thing. And my brother who's just older than me, they have a 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old also, and then a little girl. And his wife decided that she wanted to homeschool him.
Okay.
They live in
Always
a
a noble thing.
and I told him if that's what she wants to do, go for it. I couldn't do it because I'd kill my kid.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, she's doing fine, but they went down to my mom's, and my mom, she's of that age where homeschooling is not it's not normal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to her, she's like worried that Nate's not gonna be smart enough.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, having working in a school, I could say that not every student who works in a school gets the best education.
Yeah. Well, not, hey, that's what I look at it too. It's like who's giving the education and how they put into it. But
I mean, some school districts are great. Some school districts are bad. I mean, within a school district, some teachers are good and some teachers are not
yep.
great. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's high. Education is highly variable.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing is, and I guess my mom had made a comment about Nate's writing skills weren't. She didn't think they were good enough.
Yeah.
And my brother, who has his PhD, probably has the worst handwriting in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think he can read his handwriting. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
And he commenced to say, I made it through school with terrible handwriting. I think that's the least of his worries. And my mom kind of looked at him and said, "You know what? You're actually right. His handwriting is not bad, actually."
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's 9
but yeah, I
o'clock.
mean,
Yeah.
it's yeah. Scott should be on. Come on.
I know. Walking Dead is over. Well, while we're doing this, my good friend here, Chris Krile, is playing a little Hearthstone. So I'm watching. I'm rather than playing. Now I'm watching other people play and streaming that. It's our background. I don't know if this is lazy or genius. I'm
Oh,
gonna
is
go
that
with
what it is?
genius.
Okay, this isn't. Oh, this wasn't you playing. I wasn't even
No,
paying
right now.
attention.
Well, I've been playing for a little bit, but I'm actually playing on one of my friends. I'm watching one of my friends play right now. Probably making it
Yeah.
that much easier for people to stalk me and find me. But
Well, if they were gonna do it, they'd do it already.
yeah, you never know. So yeah, so let's get this thing rolling. Anyway, so
I'm
this is
in.
far. So this is far afield for February the 15th, 2015, episode 33. I'm Sayomara, and with me tonight is Porkchop.
Hello, hello.
We've been talking. We've been doing the pre-show for about half an hour. Some of you may hear that, some of you may not, but needless to say, we're enjoying ourselves. Having a good discussion
As
about.
always.
I know. Having a good discussion about how homeschooling is not the devil.
Are we liberals now?
No, if they were liberals, we would say that homeschooling is the devil. Because
Oh,
how dare people take themselves out of the education, the clearly superior education system?
well, I guess you have a point there. And they can pray in, homeschool. So,
No, it is one of those things. It's it's strange. Like the school I work in, there actually is a board that has God on it in the school somewhere. I'm not going to reveal where, just in case there are angry atheists out there looking to attack schools with lawsuits. But
yes.
I mean, no, I mean these things happen. I mean, this is a real thing
Oh,
where
no,
there
I
was an
know that.
incident last year, 2 years ago, where a girl basically sued the school and won because obviously shepherd children straight sedate these issues are pretty well litigated by this point. Got the ACLU on her side, and basically some board that had been in the school for 50 odd years had God on it. You gotta take that down. Like, okay, so you just kind of hate the traditions of the school then?
That's very true. And I mean, it happens more and more. And I laugh because a lot of the litigations are to get other religions into school and to get Christianity out also.
Well, what got me about it was I got an argument with a person. Like, so this person basically cost the school what? $1 million, $500,000. Like, and someone was arguing with me. Like, do you feel proud of that? I mean, is this something that we should be really? Because we aren't. This isn't cheap to litigate lawsuits.
No, and you're paying for it as a taxpayer.
Yeah,
Don't think you're not. Don't think it's coming out of this big budget this school has.
yeah. I guess schools clearly are, have so much extra money just kicking around, right?
Yeah, they're rich.
Oh yeah, I mean clearly, like so much money, like just falling out of the ears of people. I don't know. Like anytime you sue a school, you are basically harming, children's
You're
educations.
cutting a budget somewhere. Well, you're
Yeah,
cutting a budget somewhere. Whether it be music, whether it be social studies, math, whatever, you're cutting some program because they had to pay for something. It had to come from somewhere.
Because
It's
you
not like they
decided
have
that
coffers
your
for
yeah
lawsuits.
your social whatever argument is so much more important than everything else than children being educated. It must become first, and that's why we're gonna do it.
Yep. No, I agree, and like I said, I mean, it's not even just the about like religion. I mean, they do it for just the stupidest things, and because of this, now we have some of the stupidest. I don't want to say laws, but stupidest policies in the school.
Well, I mean, there's a very much schools very much are much like the medical field in that regard. There's kind of an attitude of well, what we don't want to get into a lawsuit, therefore, we're gonna be very lawsuit prevention cautious. What we
Well, they
do
have
often
to.
is more a function of what do we have to do to not get sued than it is what's best for the kids.
No, and I mean, I get it. You have to, and I mean, that's what we're getting at now. With, I mean, what was it? What was a 7 or 8 year old got suspended from school because he held his pencil in his fingers and it looked like a gun to the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he was making a gun, pointing it and
I have
shooting it
made
or
on
pretending it.
several different occasions. I have said to a student, "Don't say you really shouldn't be saying something like that." He's like, "Why not?" Like because it's not a good idea to talk about anything because we're in these kids are there are a lot of kids who hunt and stuff. Like, look, I know you're talking about this stuff. I know you're not talking about anything bad. Look, this is not the place to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, and you got to remind them it's kind of like going to an airport and saying bomb. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a place you want to do it at
Yeah.
because just too many things have come up and too many things have happened that to be lawsuit crazy that
Mm-hmm.
they're oversensitive to it right now. And you will go to jail for it, or if I mean, the bomb part, but in school you'll get suspended or expelled or whatever,
Yeah.
and that's not in your best interest.
Well, we had an issue where um, there's a anonymous Twitter or mobile app called Yik Yak, and what Yik Yak does and the way it's set up is that it will basically it's based on your GPS location, and so it will send a post to the 500 closest people to you within your GPS location that has the app, and everything is done anonymously. So I can say, Porkchop is a big poopy head, and everybody will see, oh, do you see that burn on Porkchop? And as you can imagine,
It's true.
because it's all posted anonymously, you know, bad things were being said, like names being thrown out, and there was nothing they could do about it. The school was trying, like, well, how do we deal with this shit? Because, and I was working with a counselor, so a couple of my students were involved. And then there was a problem, like, just at the same time, like, someone had taken a bunch of pictures of some of the men, in various states of undress. And I had a couple of seniors, and I'm like, I'd be very careful about looking at any website. This because one of the junior or like sophomore girls was talking about this. I'm like, those of you who are 18, I would be very cautious about looking at any of these sites that are being discussed because technically you are looking at underage porn, and I that is a pretty serious felony,
Yeah.
and that is on your phone. And guess what? If anyone should ever have to look at that, that's kind of a bad idea. And they give me looks like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I'm very serious when I'm warning you, don't do these things. The person who's
Not
posting
only is
these
it, I
is
mean,
in a lot of trouble. You looking at this is also in a lot of trouble, potentially.
yeah, and that's the thing is they don't realize that this is something that if this happens, it might be innocent and it might not even be anything, but guess what? You are now a sex offender.
Yeah.
And there is
Good
no
luck getting the
discrimination
job.
between a sex offender that looked at, that was 18 and looked at somebody in their high school picture of them in, their underwear than there is of as a pedophile.
Pretty
You
much.
are
The really creepy guys who've raped
looked at the
children
same
and
in the
been
court.
in jail for like 15 years and got out and somehow got an ice cream truck job. Yeah, you're no different than those guys as far as a lot of law is. And, you start running into sex offender laws as far as where you can live in a lot of communities.
Hmm? Registration.
Yep.
Like you have to register all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and like I said, and it was as innocent as like you say, looking at this yik yak stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like you were doing anything harmful on or intentional. but it happens.
Well, yeah,
You know, people don't realize that.
they're really obsessed with Snapchat.
I
Snapchat is the big thing at the moment.
I'd never even heard of Yik Yak, by the way. I know what Snapchat is, but I've never
Yeah,
even heard of Yik Yak. So,
this is what you learn in the high school. What the cool social media BS stuff is at the moment.
oh, I mean, I'm just got onto MySpace. I heard it was really up and
Oh
coming.
yeah, yeah, that's good. Good.
Yeah,
You heard they were doing music now?
yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was getting into I'm getting into MySpace.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, me and you, we AOL Instant Message all the time.
I know. My wife and I used to actually I do AM conversations when we were young.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a thing.
Yeah,
I'm just dating myself, so the younger people are like, "What is he talking about?"
I mean, if we want to get really old and start talking about ICQ and all that stuff, though I'm pretty confident we have actually done that.
We have, yes. But I was trying to do the hip thing.
Oh, you're trying to
AOL,
hit.
you know. Yeah, that was hip at the time in
I don't know if
MySpace.
you're. I don't. I think you're not accomplishing your goal here.
Huh. Go figure. So,
It happens.
yeah, well, you know how hard I tried to.
Not at all.
Yeah, not at all. I am the guy that when my son gets a little bit older, I will do things intentionally to embarrass him. So,
That's
you know.
good. I mean, we all need goals, really.
I mean, it's a simple goal. I'm not saying I'm
Your
gonna, pull his,
simple
I'm not gonna give
kind
him a
of
wedgie. I'm not that mean.
bread.
But I might have, you know, a Tahitian style shirt on and some god awful shorts to go with it and black socks and cowboy boots just because. Who doesn't want to stand next to their dad looking like that?
I'm looking at the chat. Bio is saying that when he had an ex that got caught as a freshman in some IM dragnet, like that's brutal.
Mm. Yeah, I had to turn chat off. I think that was everything that's running was slowing my stuff down, so I'm not having any
Yeah,
issues now.
that's good.
So if you want to chat with me, you have to tell me you want to come on to Far Field. I can't chat with you otherwise.
Yeah,
Today. Just today. We are having storms, so I know like my cell phone has been really like wiggy with signal like up and down all day.
Wiggy with signal. Does that mean it's like doing a head bob and
Yeah.
rocking the horns?
I didn't say getting jiggy with it. I said
Oh,
wiggy.
Jay with it. Oh,
Yeah, I said wiggy.
oh.
It's a term they
I think
use.
mine is bigger, better.
Well, mine's hipper, I'm telling you.
Your zipper.
Yeah. I'm hip. I know what Snapchat is now.
That's good.
I'm not allowed on it by
Well,
law.
here's the thing about Snapchat. To my understanding, is you need to be taking a selfie at least every 5 seconds. Otherwise, they ban you from it.
Oh, so like a
Yeah,
selfie every 5 years.
yeah. Like so, you and I who've never taken a selfie because we have self-respect, probably not allowed on there.
I mean, you don't have a selfie stick just sitting against your wall?
I don't have a selfie stick. I think the pictures that always amuse me is like the random Japanese tourist who has a selfie stick, and you're like,
Oh, they walk around with them
who's
all over
taking the
Waikiki and
picture of
stuff.
the guy with the selfie stick?
Hmm. Yeah, no, they walk around with them in Waikiki and around here, and it's quite comical to me.
Because I think
So,
it's a Japanese, like the selfie stick. Isn't that a Japanese thing?
I
I
mean, it
assume it
is, but
is.
it's getting more popular with
I'm sure it is getting.
um,
Obviously, it's getting more popular.
with the mainland American style. Who doesn't want to have a high profile shot selfie of you at the lunch line in the cafeteria?
Clearly, to
Look at
my
my
knowledge,
pizza
none of my
and
students have
me.
selfie sticks, though.
I want to I want you to take one into school.
A selfie stick that would require me having
Yes.
a smartphone. How does it work? Like, don't you like? Because most of the touchpads on a cell phone requires like an actual like it's slightly thermal sensitive, isn't it? Like, so that's why you touch it because it
Well,
won't work like if you have like a like. So how do you actually set it off? It's like voice active, like cell
I'm
phone,
assuming you
take
could.
picture. I'm like,
I mean,
that was
if you have like a lot of the smartphones, like at the Android and Apple, you can do things like that. But mine has a function on my camera. I know that if I can set it to if I press it, I can set how long it goes off. So it goes off in
okay. Yeah,
three,
that makes
five
sense.
seconds.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And especially with the front-facing camera, you can actually see yourself with it, I guess. And
Oh yeah, because I mean, it's important that your camera be able to take pictures in both directions, right?
yeah, when that's and most of the ones I've seen are are the front-facing cameras, so they can see themselves in it, so they get the perfect shot. I don't I don't know if it's I mean, the only thing I see beneficial about the selfie stick is if you're trying to do a selfie of your cleavage.
Okay, you want a really high shot just to make sure.
Yeah, just so
Well,
people
I
really
think
get that
the
shot of your cleavage. Otherwise, what's the I don't get the why you'd want it.
well, I get the impression the purpose of it is that like so if you like a landscape picture, like you want to show everybody like what's behind you.
I have a wife who can take pictures, so I guess I have a selfie stick. I just don't
Hmm.
call her that.
I don't think that's going to help you out any.
Probably not. So I just, as
As an
as
aside.
yeah, as a reminder for all you younger people, don't call your girlfriend a selfie stick.
Oh, that's a fun topic. This week in school was amusing, like on Valentine's Day, because I've never had to work Valentine's Day in school, and like the massive amount of stuff that some of these kids were bringing in for their ladies and their, male and female friends was impressive to say the least.
Well, we had um they actually had in our school where like not when I was in Iowa, but when I was down in Missouri where they actually had like a club,
They had
and
selfie
I don't remember which
sticks.
club. Yes, that no. But we were cool before it was actually just we sold corn. No, but they had like a club that sold roses, and
Yeah,
people would buy roses, and then they would go deliver them during class. And
my
then like the
colleague across the
chorus,
hall was the sponsor for the club that did that.
and then like they had a chorus that would go and sing songs or whatever to people.
They were giving out carnations, not roses. And one of my students was like super hardcore. Like he was like banging on this guy's door like every hour, like, "Hey, when you sell flowers, hey, when you sell flowers." And he's like, "Hey, it's gonna happen. Don't worry, it's gonna happen."
I need to get one for my mom.
Yeah, totally. No, he has a girlfriend who he was a little obsessed with, but
He should have got her a selfie stick.
so we stick clearly.
Yeah. I mean, what girl wouldn't want one? Then you don't need a boyfriend to take a picture of you.
Definitely have a certain. Definitely make an argument there.
I'm sure if they had a selfie stick when I was dating my wife, that she would have probably dropped me and she'd have been better off.
She would have definitely invested in that.
Probably. So I'm lucky that we didn't have them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it goes to that whole like I don't know. I just don't get the whole selfie culture. It's strange to me. Like, why do you want to? Like, doesn't it really just reinforce like, your generation kind of has a general sense that you're kind of all egotistical narcissists that really have problems, working with outside people and admitting that maybe you're not the center of the universe. Constantly taking pictures of yourself, probably not helping that.
Well, and I find it odd that I get it. I mean that like you say, you're taking a selfie. It makes you feel better about yourself, makes you feel important, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
I find it odd that the people that take selfies like looking at everybody else's selfie. Does you know what I mean?
kinda. I think.
It's like, wow, that's a cool selfie you took. It's a picture of you standing next to the refrigerator
Or it's a picture of you making a
in a dirty
face.
bathroom, in a
No,
dirty
no, no,
bathroom making duck
what doesn't
lips.
what I don't get is like okay, so you've taken the same selfie like every day for 1,000,000 days in a row. Like, so what's the advantage of that?
Um,
It just strikes me as like strange. Like,
you can tell if the proactive is working.
yes,
I don't know.
like, okay, so you've taken a picture of you and your friend every day. I mean, okay, so like, maybe we're wearing a different outfit today? Okay, maybe that's the reason.
Well, kids today, their memory is terrible. So maybe
Oh,
this is them using their memory.
oh, okay.
It's literally a digital memory because they don't have a real memory.
They don't have a real memory.
No.
I can see
And
that
we're not
argument.
we're not teaching them to have one either though, so why
Yeah,
should they?
well, I see that like in the way they interact with knowledge. I mean, they don't really care to know things because they can just look them up.
Yes.
Like I don't need to know, how to solve a math problem because I can just Google the problem on the internet. Like, well, yes, you're right. That is a real thing that you can do. However, you don't really have any ownership over that knowledge.
Right.
And
And
that's kind of problematic in the long term.
well, yes, and I mean, to make money,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have a skill that doesn't require you to look it up on the internet every 10 seconds. You actually have to apply the skill,
Yeah.
you know.
Uh,
And taking
yeah.
selfies is not a skill, okay?
Well, I think that's why, why, like, not to, you know, belittle it, but I mean, why does something like streaming video games appeal to so many people? Like, well, because streaming video games is easy. And people want to do things that are easy, not because they're hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it too. I mean, I think it's a twofold thing. It's kind of I I think some people like to stream or not stream, but I think some people like to watch people stream
Yeah,
because they're trying to learn about the game and get better about it.
that's a
And
different issue.
two, it's also yeah, but and two, it's also like I don't play this game. I can actually watch this guy play it and see if it's something that I actually might enjoy
Mm-hmm.
playing. You know what I mean? But it has gotten a little out of hand, especially people that are like streaming games that are brand new.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it's like, this game is so great. Like you've played 5 minutes. How can this game be great?
Yeah. My wife showed me that I dropped this into the chat room. This is a webcomic called Saturday Morning Breakfast Cereal. And the way this thing works is so it says, no, never, no, you'll never use math in real life ever. Then the math teacher talking to his class, and then it says math literacy rate falls to zero. Zero is really small amount, says experts. Then the next newspaper headline is, former high school math teacher opens bank, promises 10% monthly interest on loans to keep it interesting. It keeps going. Former teacher now the richest man on earth. Annoying student is now poor and sad. And then the last one is, are we ever going to use this in real life?
And the teacher's contemplating telling them the
Yeah,
no.
no, no, of course not.
Uh, yeah. Well, and I
Yeah,
am
that's why you should know things. Knowing things is good.
yes. Well, and I'm having the minor argument with my son now because
Yeah,
like he knows his alphabet. He actually understands a lot of addition and subtraction. And
yeah,
it's not like if I have 5 apples and you take away two and you hold up 5 fingers and then take away 2 fingers and count 1, 2, 3, he actually
yeah,
goes, okay, I have 5 apples. You take away 2 apples. Hey, that's 3 apples. It's
yeah.
not the counting fingers. He actually gets it. You know what I mean? He's like just not quite reading and stuff, and I'm like, listen, you understand some math and you understand all and you recognize all the letters
What
and
I,
numbers
what
and
I
things like that,
find,
but you
what I
can't
find like the
read
different, like
the
the
cereal
problem.
box.
But my problem, I think, at least with math skills, and math's what I deal with on a daily basis, is
Right.
kids are really good with basic arithmetic.
Right.
The problem becomes when it becomes algebra.
Yes.
and like, oh my god, now there are, now I have to actually, actually solve problems.
Right. And I laugh at that because that is basic arithmetic to me, but it's understanding how basic arithmetic works.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? If you understand how it works, then you can figure out the problem.
Yeah,
But that's the way I was
but
taught.
you have to be. I mean, when it starts becoming fractions, when it starts becoming more than what it was, more than just literally a minor addition and subtraction. That's when my kids just shut down. Like, well, what do you expect? I mean, what do you? I guess I don't really know what you want out of your education at that point.
I want a selfie stick,
Apparently,
and I don't need math for that.
no, you don't.
One selfie stick plus me equals,
Selfie. Did you know
oh,
that?
yes, selfie. I don't know. Hey, Obama's doing it. It must be awesome.
I don't really have a problem with him having a selfie stick. I think it looks. I mean, he looks like a giant goober doing it. But I mean,
But doesn't everybody?
yeah. I mean, just to say he looks ridiculous isn't really saying anything because everybody looks ridiculous
Yes, that's what I
with
mean.
a selfie stick.
I'm actually not gonna bag on him looking goofy because everybody looks goofy.
Yeah, you're not really belittling the office any more than usual.
No, I'm actually probably being nicer than normal.
Yeah,
I do that every now and again.
occasionally. Occasionally, we should be nice to the president. He is our president after all,
Yeah,
for
well,
all of
that's why I
another.
love him. That is one reason I like America for now, is that I can make fun of the president and drones aren't going to shoot me down.
Yeah, at least for the foreseeable future.
Exactly. Amazon might shoot me down with their drones, but
Oh,
that's
that's
because I
possible.
didn't renew my Prime membership.
You didn't. Uh oh.
I don't know. Why else would they shoot me?
Because they can. I don't know.
It could be. Could be. I know the FCC is really looking into drones because they really think it's going to become a
You
business
mean
application
FAA
soon.
or FCC?
Both, because it's going to be, it's going to be running drones are going to be running on the wireless, um, on the radio signals.
Yeah.
I
Oh
know
yeah,
they're
it
really
makes sense.
contemplating what they're going to do because I mean they really think it's going to be businesses are going to be using it for things.
Yeah.
So I mean we're not there yet, obviously, but they're thinking that's what's going to happen. So I'm investing all my money in selfie sticks and drones.
So that when you get shot down, you'll totally be able to take the perfect picture of it. And you'll be
Yes.
set.
Yeah. Well, and then that's what everybody wants, so people can. I'll be able to sell it. My wife will be able to sell it to pay
Hmm.
for my funeral expenses. So, and I hope people know that a selfie stick is just a broom that they tape their phone onto.
It does kind of look like it.
I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Although I have seen some of the ones that the Japanese people are carrying around, and it has this handle like a ski
Like
pole.
it looks like it has a trigger handle. That's what I was confused by. Like, how is
Yeah.
it actually triggering it?
Well, they might have one. I don't know. It's plugged into the USB or something. I don't know. But I'm just saying. But yeah, it looks like a ski pole handle almost. So it's like, you know, they went skiing and go, this would be a great thing to attach my phone to. Uh, I guess Scott really doesn't want to come on.
I guess not. Guess
Eh,
he's more important things. Way it goes. We'll
well, he's missing on the talk. I would really like to see the sociology aspect of the selfie stick.
the sociology. Fairly. That's going to be our episode. To this title is the selfie stick.
Probably. I've, I've brought it up enough times.
Some episodes are easy to name, and some episodes are hard. Oh, we got like two things we want to talk about. I was gonna wait for Scott, but we'll handle these. And if he doesn't show up by 10, we'll call it a good show. We put in our hour and a half, and
Yeah, no,
is
no,
what it is,
no.
right?
It is. I was looking forward to making fun of him, but
Yeah,
to his face. It's more fun
yeah.
to his
Oh
face.
yes, of course. Like
You
we
know.
moved to Sunday night, make life easier for Scott. He's like, "Well, I got Walking Dead." I'm like, what are you doing? Like trolling the forums? Do you really need to make a Reddit post about this post? And really, did it take you half an hour to write it? I guess. Not judging
He
much.
can't he can't take time to eat burritos and write about them, but he can take time to Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, yeah. Post on the Reddit. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Ukraine's about to start we're about to have a hot war in Ukraine, and nobody's talking about it very much, and it's kind of scary in that way.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Like, how do we have how are we about to? We're starting to openly arm Ukraine, and this isn't national news. Like Jon Stewart retiring, like 3 days press coverage. U.S.
well,
openly
that's because
talking.
that's because that actually hurts the Democrats that he's leaving because who's going to be their front man?
I guess, but nonetheless, it's still one of those things. Like, yeah, this is kind of bad. Like,
If it's a
you don't want.
war with with Russia, then we can blame the Republicans.
Well, and that's another issue entirely. This new war resolution, that's a complete joke. But
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I mean, we had talks, Obama and was it Merkel,
yeah,
from Germany,
that went
you know,
nowhere.
yeah, had talks, all this, and then they kind of, the Ukraine and I don't want to
Well,
say
that's because
Russia, but the
Germany has
rebels,
openly said they do not want us arming Ukraine.
yes, and that's basically what I think these talks were about. People don't understand that either.
No,
I don't think, but I mean, the Ukraine and like I said, you can't say Russians, the rebels, the
the
Russian
rebels.
rebels, the
But they are like
Russian loyalists,
nationality and their political loyalties are more towards Russia than
right,
they are towards the the Ukrainian government, which has been part of the problem in the Ukraine for the last
right,
20 years or whatever it's been. That
yes,
you have these political differences.
right. Well, and that's the thing is, I mean, they agreed to a ceasefire, and it lasted all of what, half a day?
You see, here's what I think. Like maybe this is just me not understanding this problem, but Russia isn't going to give up these territories. Like
No,
at the best solution that we could come is that there's a ceasefire. Ukraine goes to a very weak federal system where the various provinces have basically they're not states, sovereign states unto themselves, but they still have some ties to the central country. But basically, they're states unto themselves and not without ties to the central country. I mean, that's right now.
right.
That is the best outcome that we can hope for. To me, that's
Agreed.
not a very good outcome. To me,
No,
like I mean, that's because that's just prolonged. The best outcome, if you ask me, would be well, why don't we just try to barter the sale of this area to Russia? Like, make it a long-term sale. I mean, Russia's not going to give it up. Selling this land selling part of Ukraine to Russia is a better thing for everyone involved than it is for trying to actually cause a war. I mean, a lot
right,
of people die. We sell these countries. Like, okay, is Russia maybe do basically give the and I would have some sort of stipulation on long term sovereign. If people wish to leave this area and go to Ukraine, then they totally have, and you can't do anything to stop them. There's some obviously probably some cross citizenship for some period of time where they can do that, but
right.
I don't see anyone suggesting that.
Well, because that's easy and makes sense. You understand what I'm
I
saying? And
don't. I don't
that's
think it's an easy outcome, but I think it's a better outcome than what we're talking about right now.
yeah, and that's the thing is, I think these both sides, and I mean, we all know Russia
Mm-hmm.
is very uh very stubborn about it. Like I said, to be honest, it's not in their best interest to give it up. They need
No,
it for the ports, for Crimea and all that. I mean, this is very
it's for their
economically,
geopolitical interests are very heavily connected to it,
yes,
and they also don't. I mean, look at the sides. Like, okay, to us, this is just by virtue of our news coverage, you can tell. Like, to most Americans, this really doesn't matter. Like, we give two nothings about this whole issue.
right.
Where on the other hand, like Russia's not going to let this go quietly into the night.
No, and they've said so, and I mean they've all but come up with nuclear threats even about it already.
And why are we? I mean, so okay, is it in the best interest of Kiev to let them, arm and everything? No, but at the same time, I don't really foresee like there's just no good outcome here for Ukraine. I mean, I don't like I don't think that's a good thing, but at the same time, I think what is the best humanitarian outcome would be a straight up sale. And the other reason why it'd be good ultimately for us as the Americans and American self interest coming in is obviously they would pay some ridiculous price for this. Now, would
Right.
it be still less than what a war would probably cost? Yeah, but I mean, you're still probably talking a sale in trillions of dollars,
Right.
for a significant part of another country, to say nothing of, the logistics of, okay, now we have to rebuild this area that has basically been demolished, which is going to cost
Right.
us more money. I mean, you're
But that would
basically,
actually help to stabilize the rest of the
that's
Ukraine
what I mean.
government, which
This would
is
be a
part of their problem
stabilizing
is not having
force.
money.
This would be a stabilizing force because it would let the actual, it would slow Russia down because they pretty much have to sit down and deal with it. The other half of it is, why is Russia doing this? Well, Russia fears that it's dying because, and it kind of is,
Hmm.
for all intents and purposes, because Russia is not gonna be, it's getting smaller. Its birth rate is terrible.
Very terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, like you say, it's on the verge of being scary. I
yeah,
mean, literally.
yeah. So why are we? Why? I mean, I don't. It just doesn't seem like why are we escalating a war, which really doesn't need to be escalated.
Right. Well, and that's the thing too is I mean, economically they I know they struck a deal with China
Hmm.
for basically oil, gas, et cetera,
Yeah,
et cetera. But OPEC has brought the price down so much, trying to hurt them and the U.S.
yeah. Well, they're trying to
They're
drive like frackers out of the market.
yeah. But it's just killing Russia right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's not necessarily something we makes us sad, but it
Right.
is something that is real. It is a real concern.
No, no, exactly. But I mean, they're economically weak right now as far
Mhm.
as all that stuff goes. They're like you said, they're trying to find their spot and trying to regain their a little bit of the past glory, but they need that Crimean port because that's their access to the sea there.
Yeah, the Black Sea,
They don't have a lot of, they need
Black
access
Sea,
for
Red Sea.
trade
It's
and
one of
things
them,
like that.
isn't it? I forget which one.
I
It's
don't
Black
I
Sea
think
or
it's
Red Sea. I forget.
yeah, black, I think.
Hmm.
But I mean, they need access to that for their commerce and things like
Hmm.
that, and to be honest, for their navy.
Yeah,
So it's very, very important to them. They're not going to give it up for nothing.
no,
You know what I mean? They need it. They have to have it if they, I mean, they in their mind, and it's probably true. They have to have it to help them sustain themselves.
oh yeah. I mean, why would I mean? Countries are going to act in their best interest. At
Right.
the end of the day, Russia is going to act in its best interest. Is the more powerful force here. Now, do you want to say that's a certain amount of moral equivalency between like Germany taking the Rhinelands and prior to World War II? A little bit, but not. It's different, and I think that it's different when a sovereign power comes in and takes something versus when we literally negotiate an agreement. And most of the people in that area, I mean, who are these rebels and why are they fighting? At least a significant part of that population, at least, is it does not want to be part of that country. And so we're negotiating. If we were to negotiate some sort of land trade or land purchase, and that's in Ukraine. It's not like Ukraine's,
Right.
got piles of money. Ukraine's got, its own problems with money. The thing that I think would be most beneficial to Ukraine is if they,
No, and
as
that's why I
part
said
of
it would
a,
help stabilize their government.
yeah, well, the other thing I would say is, the pipelines that cross Ukraine that feed Europe, Ukraine should, as part of any agreement, would say we get 8%. Like we get a flat, as long as there are
Right.
pipelines across our country, and it's your interest as well as ours to make this a stable situation where those pipelines continue to run. And if we get a cut, it is all to our benefit that we will always make sure that pipeline is running. I mean, I'm sure there's some cut now, but I mean, make it a like a 10 per 15% cut of all the revenue that comes off that pipe, like, and make it like gross revenue, not net revenue. Like, you guys get to worry about paying the bills. We get ours right off the top. As part of, in addition, whatever we give you for this, whatever you give us for this land, we also get part of sales of your natural gas resources cutting across our territory. And that gives you, and that acts as a further stabilizing force. I mean, this isn't like, this is
Right.
how countries used to work. I mean, before that, I mean, this is, I don't know. I mean, there's the problem with like the mindset of the nation state is that like these borders are so sovereign they can never change. Like, what's wrong with one country choosing to be part of another country? Like, why must borders never change? Like, we are now, like, this is
Right.
the, I mean, would anyone say, like, the borders of the world right now are the most ideal borders that we could, like, if we were to draw the borders of the world up right now, these are the borders that are most perfect. Like, no one would ever say that. That's insanity. Like, so we shouldn't just treat it like this is something we're just going to hang around with forever.
No, but you also understand. I mean, look at just the United States and look at the states themselves fighting over land.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I mean, you've got um, California like screaming for water rights. You know what I mean?
But
And
that's, I mean, that's part of a different issue.
no, but I'm just saying. I mean, but we can't even do it amongst states, and we're all one country. How are you supposed to do it amongst different
Mm-hmm.
countries? That's what I mean. That's the point. You know what I'm saying? Where we're
Yeah.
having and it's all about, like you say, it's that self-preservation, and it's a national, it's a city. I mean, we do it with our sports. Your team sucks. I hate you. You're this
Why,
fan.
why, why are we fighting? Why do we fight this badly over things that really don't matter, right?
Exactly. It's the selfie stick nation.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know if we really have accomplished anything, but hopefully someone with some credence will suggest this, and we can. It's definitely not going to be John Kerry, because whoever thought putting
Because he
John,
doesn't listen to our podcast.
yeah, whoever thought putting John Kerry in charge of foreign policy, not the brightest person ever. But that's what
I
it
think
is.
he probably just goes with Heinz ketchup packets and hands them out.
Yeah, maybe. I
I
mean,
think
I'm sure that'd make Teresa okay.
I think that's all he does.
Yeah.
You like relish? Got relish.
No, but John, look, nobody likes relish. I don't care how much time you give people relish packets. Nobody uses it. People want ketchup. Sometimes they want mustard. No one ever wants relish. There's no point in
But
having
we
relish
got a
out.
lot of relish. Do you want relish?
No, just make it into pickles.
Do you want relish though? Because I
No.
got to get rid of this relish.
The only time people want relish is when they mix it with mayo and make tartar sauce. That's the only time people want relish.
But Teresa said it was. I had to get rid of the stuff we didn't sell.
No, no.
uh, yeah. No, well, we make a lot of bad choices. So as far as people doing anything for us, so.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, let's talk about Spider-Man. That was the other topic I had. So, apparently Spider-Man is coming back home a little bit, kind of, sort of.
I've heard tale.
You've heard tale. So, what is your
Yeah,
as the unplugged generally doesn't give two fucks about anything in the media kind of thing? What is your thoughts on Spider-Man maybe being a Marvel movie?
I don't give a fuck.
Now, have you seen any of the Spider-Man movies?
I have seen the the first two movies that had Tobey Maguire in them
Okay.
when they were like on, TNT or whatever,
Mm,
They weren't terrible. They weren't the greatest, but they weren't terrible. And then I
yeah.
did see the very first one with the new guy as Andrew Garfield.
Yes, that's correct.
I did actually enjoy that one better.
Really?
Um,
Why did you like that one better?
you know, to be honest, I think it's because I think Tobey Maguire is a putz, and I just don't like his style. And I didn't know anything about this Andrew Garfield guy, and I probably just liked him better as Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire, and that's probably all it really is.
hmm
Um, the storylines obviously were the original. I don't want to say original, but the first one with Tobey Maguire was the one with where he was with Mary Jane, and then the last one was like the earlier one when he was with Gwen.
Yeah,
So I like that there's a different timeline. I don't know what's Marvel gonna do with it.
we have no idea.
Yeah, that's
Literally no idea.
I didn't watch any of the. I didn't watch. Was there three with Tobey Maguire? Is that
Yep.
correct? I didn't watch the last one, and I didn't watch. I know there's another one with the Andrew Garfield,
Hmm.
but it had that's the one that had like Topher Grace or something in it, and I'm like, yeah, no. Even if it's on Spike or TNT, I'm probably not gonna watch it. I did not think any of them were terrible movies, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't care what
I
anybody
always
says.
thought like the
I'm not a guy
best
that
one.
thinks. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I always thought the best one was the second Tobey Maguire one, the one with Doc Ock in it,
Okay. No, it wasn't terrible.
because it
That's
seems
why I said
like
I saw that one.
he was by far like the best villain.
But you
Like
know what?
he's
The character, the guy who played Doc Ock. I like the way he played him. You know,
yeah,
Tobey Maguire to me is he's a selfie stick. He just like is there. This
yeah,
doesn't have much that comes out on screen to me.
I get that.
Um, and not that I'm not saying that Peter Parker is this super emotional, deep character, but I mean he is known as a teen in angst
Yeah,
constantly. You know, not a not a guy staring off into the open space, going which is the way I feel Tobey Maguire is. But
yeah, yeah. The reason why
I thought the scripts, the
Spider.
stories were good, though.
Mm,
Like I'm a realist. It's a 2 hour movie. You can't put all the comic book stuff in a 2 hour movie.
yeah, no,
I
that's reasonable.
so don't I yeah, but people expect you to. These comic book people. Well, they left this part out. Well, they had to. They can't put everything. Jesus Christ. You know.
I don't think Jesus had anything to do with it.
He did.
He did. Oh, okay.
Sure. But um Marvel's been putting out some pretty good movies, so I
Mm.
mean, I think they have a better. I that's why I'm trying to figure out if they're going to try to reboot the Tobey Maguire
That's
series
really what the
or
big
not.
question is. Are they gonna like do another origin story, or are they gonna try to like not do something terrible?
Right, and I couldn't tell you what they're going to do in any of that. But yeah, I heard it was coming back to Marvel. I don't even know if they've even said who they want to direct.
Mm.
Who's writing
I don't think
scripts or any of
anyone
that
has
stuff.
any idea of any of that kind of stuff.
You know, um, but like I said, I didn't think the last ones were that terrible. I didn't say they were the greatest
Yeah,
movies in the world, but you know, entertaining enough.
on a scale of 1 to I don't care, they were
Yeah,
they were like a 1 or 2.
yeah. They had a number,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It's better than some other movies,
Yeah, no, I get that.
you know. But I, uh, I just, and I love how all these people hate movies because they don't do what they want them to do. And if, I try to explain to people that you have to cater to the masses,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the masses of who you want to see the movie or who you want to do whatever, you know what I mean? What group you're focused on.
Yeah,
If you make a movie that teens are gonna like, probably, grown adults aren't gonna like it. That's because they hate each other. Those two
that's
demographics hate each other, young whippersnappers and you old fogey. So of course they're not gonna like the same movie. So it's hard to write to the mass appeal to get what you need.
well. There's I remember reading one time like there's this big criticism of movies because they're basically that movies are too central, like there are too many 17-year-old male leads is a general
Right.
criticism. Like,
Right.
okay, I get that to a degree. Like I'm not, I mean, I'm not overly sympathetic to that worldview just because obviously it's a male, but I understand why people make an issue of it. So here's the movie studio logic. Movie studio logic is that young people want to watch things about people who are older than them. So, if I'm, I don't know, for example, if you are right now 10 years old, you're totally okay watching something about 12-year-olds. 12-year-olds are also totally okay watching something about other 12-year-olds or about, 13-year-olds. 13-year-olds are good with 14-year-olds, et cetera, until you get to about
Ex
18. And once you get out of
Gotcha.
high school, then people kind of stop caring.
Right.
Then it becomes more of like, more you're like, well, do I like this? Then it becomes like, well, I don't really care about stuff about it. Older people or younger people. I'm kind of more interested in myself to a degree. Like, and then eventually people will be more respectful once again to like, I'll watch a movie about like that 18-year-old's kind of the sweet spot with ages. Like, well, I can always kind of look back on high school okay-ish. Like,
Right.
okay. The other thing is men and women. Men don't not always. I know when I was in children's literature classes for my education degree, they talked about how a lot of young boys don't like to read stories about young girls. But on the other hand, girls generally have no issue reading stories about boys.
Right.
And so the same kind of mentality works in movies. Boys tend to care about boy things. Girls are pretty much okay going either way, which makes sense.
Right.
Women are more flexible in those regards. So the logic basically is that if you're trying to make a movie that appeals to the widest possible audience, realistically, you really want to make a movie about a 18 year old boy because it appeals to pretty much all ages, and it also appeals to both men and women. Now,
Right.
does it appeal to women less than men? Yes, it does. But a romantic comedy doesn't appeal to men at all, or very acing. You look at the percentage of men who will watch a romantic comedy not being forced to watch it on a date, versus the number of women who will go to say a Marvel movie like Iron Man.
Right.
You're going to get a lot more women in the Iron Man movie than you're going to get women wanting to watch Love Story 2.
Yeah. Men, you mean? I got you.
Yeah. Sorry.
I know what you meant. I'm just clarifying it for our audience, just in case
Yeah,
they don't.
yeah. No, I
They're with
get
their
that.
selfie
I
stick. I had
appreciate
to get
I
their brain
appreciate that.
working,
Yeah,
you
good,
know.
good.
No, and I get what you're coming from, and also, I mean, you look at the movie theater and the movie production companies as they're at the right now. It's like
Mhm.
we have to do what's proven also, and
Yeah.
it's proven that an 18-year-old lead works, male lead works. So why would we go away from it?
Well, and that's what the plan with Spider-Man is. We want to go back to making him a teenager.
Right.
Like, okay. I mean, the big controversy with Spider-Man a couple of years back, I don't know if you heard it, was when they basically retconned out his marriage to Mary Jane Parker.
Mm.
So he had one of the key things about Spider-Man was that he was married, and it was kind of he'd been matured over the years.
Right.
Well, it was felt that that made him too old and not accessible, and they preferred a Spider-Man that they could pretty much date anybody, hang out with anybody. So is it really surprising? Once again, we're going back to the really young Spider-Man.
No, and that's why I mean, and I think Marvel might try and come back, and I said reboot it because of what people have always said about the original one with Tobey Maguire, how they thought
It
it
just
was kind
feels
of a
like it
failure.
feels too soon, doesn't it?
Well, they
Doesn't it
already
feel
did
like?
it. I mean, didn't
I
they? I
mean,
mean, if you think about though with Andrew Garfield, it was a reboot. They just rebooted it to a different section and
does it?
in the comic book.
I guess you just. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the best reboot ever, right?
Mm,
Who knows?
I don't know. So,
I guess when you start throwing Martin Sheen into your Spider-Man movie, it kind of makes me like as Uncle Ben. It's like, yeah,
yeah. Well, you know what? Whatever the media says, if they say it's going to be terrible, it'll be great.
mm-hmm.
And if they say it's going to be great, it's going to be terrible. So
Well, I don't, I
just
wouldn't
watch
even go
out
with
for what they
that.
say.
I wouldn't even go with that on the Marvel movies because I expect them to be wrong no matter what. Because they're going to say it's good no matter what. Because the Marvel movies have been pretty good as a general rule.
No, they have. They've been doing it right. I mean, it's what's keeping them alive and with
Mhm.
money and stuff right now, the Marvel movie side.
Yeah, I mean, and you could say Disney's definitely made a lot of good business decisions. First
Mm-hmm.
with buying Marvel and then buying Star Wars, they seem to be. I mean, we haven't seen the Star Wars movie yet, but it seems like It's gonna be pretty decent when it's all said and done.
Yeah. It's getting a lot of exposure and a lot of positive exposure,
Yeah,
already, and it's not even out. So,
yeah. I mean,
I mean,
people
the negative exposure is the
approve.
hypothetical discussion of the hilt being a lightsaber and how it
Yeah,
can never happen. Oh my God.
yeah.
You know, but it is what it is there.
Pretty much.
So
And that's kind of nerds being nerds.
yeah, no, I know. Well, and the part of the reason I brought up the media being wrong is the media to me, they don't get the American people anyway. Look at American
Oh,
Sniper. Panned, telling how terrible it is because it is about a part of the time in American history, which is the Iraq War, that a lot of the media does not like, and they don't want to talk about it.
mm-hmm.
But it just goes to show that Americans love a war story,
A good
and
war
they
story.
want and they want a hero, a war hero.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, the media will never bring that up. I mean, they'd rather have, they'll never give it a claim or anything like that, even though that's what Americans want. It just goes to, to prove what the media knows about Americans. They don't.
They don't. Well, and yeah, well, it's Hollywood. Like Hollywood here sees the Passion of the Christ. They're like, oh, the stupid folks on the, you know, us middle America. They just want religious film. We'll do Exodus, and it's like, no, that was kind of bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got the Russell Crowe's in it.
Yeah. Well, CGI Noah just didn't work.
Or they did Christian Bale doing. You got Noah and you had Christian Bale with in Exodus and yeah. I'm mixing them up because they're both equally bad. There's the Noah film with Russell Crowe, and then
Right.
there's the Christian Bale film with that was the Exodus. That was like I don't know. I guess you can't really. I don't know. To me, it's me. I've seen Ten Commandments too many times. I don't feel like you can. You ever really take that back.
Right. Oh, I know. I get what you're saying, and I mean, that was I know people were complaining because hey, basically you're portraying all white people as Egyptians and everything else. Um, I get that being a problem. I mean, especially in today's time
Yeah.
when we have. I don't mean to make this sound negative, but we have access to people that are actually Egyptian that know how to act. So why wouldn't you use, somebody more
Someone who actually looks like,
appropriate?
yeah.
Yeah, more appropriate to you know, to the period. you know.
Yeah.
So, eh. I haven't seen those
Yeah, I
movies
mean,
either, but they were.
yeah, they look terrible. I think we all
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, they did look terrible. More terrible than most.
Well, I don't have much else, Porkchop. What do you got? Anything?
I
Any
don't.
quick hits for this week? Any news stories that were titillizing and fascinating to you?
No, to be honest, I've been paying attention to the Ukraine thing myself, and when you were talking about that, I'd already had, like I said, some things. The Spider-Man, like I said, I had just heard tale about a little bit, and I didn't. I just knew it was coming back to Marvel. I didn't know if they'd made any of their decisions.
Hmm.
Um, and other than that, no, because I've been just work has been kicking my butt. I feel like I feel like Scott.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't look like him.
Thankfully, I think we're all happy
Yeah.
about that someday.
Yeah, but mine will be gone soon. My work, at the end of this month, it will go back to normal. So we're just busy. So, and the reason it's been kicking my butt is because I've been lifting heavy things, and my
Hmm.
old body isn't used to it. So I'm sore. You know.
No, I understand. Yeah, I don't know. Porkchop, I'll be able to
So
get a hold of
I'm
you.
a crybaby.
You're crybaby. Fair enough. How can people
The
get
easiest
hold
way
of
to
you,
get a hold of
Porkchop?
me is on Twitter. I am at Porkchop Hawaii.
Okay. And our
Can you hear
co-host who said he was going to be here
Sayo?
but totally lied about it. Yes, Porkchop. As you say, our co-host who said he was going to be here
Oh,
but
can you hear
totally
me now?
lied. Yep, I can still hear you, Porkchop.
Okay. That would be Scott.
Yes, that would be Scott. And it's Alvarado _
Alvarado
Scott. I think we're getting out of sync here. Okay, I think we're picking a good time maybe to end the show because I think Hawaii Net or which is obviously a subset of Skynet is treating Porkchop poorly. So and you can always find me on Twitter. The show's Twitter is FarFieldCast. My primary Twitter is Grand Old Podcast, which is my old show. And my personal Twitter is Sayomara V, which you can come to if I know who you are, and if I don't, you're not going to get in the door. That's just the way it is. I'm not a big fan of WoW Insider or Blizzard Watch. Just be aware of that. And I talk about politics because I am a radical conservative, and I'm okay with that. But I don't really. I keep that on the Sayomara V. So. Porkchop, you still with me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I sure can.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm having internet. I don't want to say internet issues, but I know the winds are causing havoc.
I know, that's what I said. The Hawaii Net is obviously the machines are clearly taking over.
Yeah, well, somebody has to because as humans we can't do anything right.
Sounds good. Take care. It's always everyone.
You have been listening to Far Afield on RivalCast Media, and make sure to check out all the other great shows at rivalcastmedia.com. Our email is farafieldpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at farafieldcast. Sayo can be found at Sayomara V. Scott can be found at Alvarado_Scott. And Porkchop can be found at Porkchop Hawaii. Thank you for listening.
Sometimes my get up is all gone. Everything I do just turns out wrong. My mood is dark just like a tomb. I hear you laughing in the other room. I blame you for the smile upon my face. The daily grind has me so uptight. Try to unwind when I come home at night. I try every trick in the book. You give me that special look. I blame you for the smile upon my face. I blame you for the smile upon my face. You make me think there might be hope for the human race. Whenever I sit across from you, I got a table with a view. I blame you for the smile upon my face. One of these days, this race will be all run. Some battles lost, some battles will be won. If on that day I get my way, the last words you're gonna hear me say, I blame you for the smile upon my face. I blame you for the smile upon my face. You make me think there might be hope for the human race. Whenever I sit across from you, I've got a table with a view. I blame you for the smile upon my face. I blame you for the smile upon my face. Yes, I blame you for the smile upon my face.